YouTube, what it do, man? Straight to third. We back with another reaction, and we tapping into the most creative snowboarder in the world, like the most wild snowboarder you ever seen to date. Literally looks like he's trying to fall, but he's so swifty on the board that it's like he'll catch any mistake. It's almost like he's trying to make mistakes to catch himself. I know he practices doing the wildest shit, like the shit, you know what I'm saying? Basically wiping out just to catch himself. Cause that's literally how his tricks go. Like he does the most wild back flippy, wild twist midair, like freestyling it. It's almost like gymnastics if you didn't give a fuck. Like you could just jump and not give a fuck and really just fucking flip in the air and then catch yourself somehow, some way. That's literally what he
ZEB
looks
Powell
like.
is without a doubt one of the most innovative snowboarders that we have ever seen.
Like
His
what is
riding
that?
style can be
What
best
is
described
that?
as spontaneous, aggressive, and above all, creative. With most of the tricks that ZEB does, he claims that he doesn't even think about it, he just does what he feels is right. In addition to that, he often rides
This
on a
looks like
comically
you don't
large
think about
snowboard,
it.
which for those of you unfamiliar with the sport, is a lot harder to do tricks on, especially the ones that he's doing on it, such as presses, butters, and large rotations. But it doesn't even matter what board ZEB rides, he always shocks people with whatever tricks he's doing. And he is pretty much
This nigga
single-handedly
takes the
causing a
nose
paradigm
of
shift in
the
snowboarding,
snow
and not
does a
only
triple
because of the tricks that he
backflip while
does,
grabbing
but
the
also
snow.
by
Then
inspiring
damn
and
near
introducing
throws a snowball
snowboarding to a
midair.
whole new
Like,
audience.
what the
So
fuck?
without taking up any more time, let's just get right into the video
This
about
nigga
the
had-
rise
bro,
of ZEB Powell and how
I
his
ain't gonna lie,
style
if I
is
was his man,
redefining
I
what
would
is
be like,
possible
all right,
in
put two
snowboarding today.
snowballs right there and catch them hoes. Catch them bitches like this while you're doing a backflip. And then when you come down, throw them bitches in.
ZEB Powell, whose first name is Zebulon, was born in Waynesville, North Carolina
Nah,
on
that's
January
the
18th,
only
2000.
real name you
He was
can
adopted
have.
as a baby and raised by Valerie and Carl Powell. It was
Oh, damn,
undoubtedly
that's why
thanks
he's
to
a
his adoptive
snowboarder.
parents and of course his natural talent that Zeb became one of the best snowboarders in the world today.
yeah, he's
And that is
vicious.
primarily because his parents were completely open to letting him go full force into whatever passion he had. Zeb's
Oh, yeah,
first
nah,
big
that's
passion
dope, too.
started with skateboarding.
Of course.
I was on track to be a skater actually. Like my dad always has this vision. He did the same thing with snowboarding. He's like, yo, he's gonna make it snowboarding. But first I was a skater, and he was like, always like, yo, he's gonna do it.
To this day, Zeb will still sometimes post clips of him skateboarding,
That's cool
and he's
as hell.
actually really good at skating too. But after his local park shut down, he didn't have anywhere else to skate, and he was getting bored during the winter. That's when his friends convinced him to try snowboarding.
But then our
There's
skate park
no
shut
way
down, so I kind of
he didn't grow up doing snowboarding?
There's not much to do in the winter, so all my friends were going snowboarding. But then one of my friends had a birthday party at the mountain, and I was invited. I was like, okay, maybe I should try this out because everyone was doing it, and I'm missing out on fun. It's
Yeah,
30
nah,
minutes
for
away
real, you
from
gotta
Super
tap in.
Mellow. That's how I
30
started.
minutes away? What?
So when Zeb was only 7
He
years
lived
old,
in the
his
mountains
parents
in
bought him
North
some
Carolina.
snowboarding
Slim
lessons.
was outside.
But ironically, he actually didn't like it. This is because his teacher was forcing him to ride regular as opposed to goofy, which is Zeb's natural stance.
Wait.
I went to a lesson at Cataloochee ski area. My teacher sucked. Like, she was super mean, and she set me up a left foot forward, like regular instead of goofy. So I did not pick that up at all. So the first time sucked, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Which, as a snowboarding instructor myself, I am shocked to hear actually happened. One of the first things I do with my students is determine their preferred stance because it typically makes learning a whole lot easier. Anyway, despite the initial bad experience, he was convinced to try it again with his dad's best friend at their local ski area called Cataloochee. And this time they set up the board properly for him. As he was going up the chairlift, on the first run he noticed a train park, and as many beginners do, he instantly knew that he wanted to try it. And shockingly, just after 1 or 2 runs, Zeb already got the hang of snowboarding. By the end of the day, with the encouragement of the local park crew, he had a box on his first day snowboarding.
He took me to the train park the first day. Or I think I saw the train park. It's right under the bunny slope lift. And I was like, I want to go there. So I think I hit a box the first night, and I think they kind of saw the potential from there. And I just started being in the park every day pretty much. So they became kind of my mentors. Yeah, they would just kind of tell me to do tricks and stuff.
In only 2 years of him riding, Zeb would try his first backflip. Even though this is more of a cork attempt than a backflip, this shows that even back then, when he was still just a beginner, he was not scared of falling and fully committing to whatever trick he was doing. This undoubtedly would play a massive role into his snowboarding
Oh
style
my
later on
God.
in life.
I'm
Zeb
telling
would
you, if he
continue
caught
to
a
ride his local
motherfucking
mountain with his
snowball right
friends
there,
and
Slim,
continue to get
it
better
would
every
be
single
over.
year. And by the time he
It
was 10
came
years
up
old,
as-
his parents sent him to Camp
just hit a
Woodward
judge in
proper
the
for
face or
summer camp,
something.
which also has a year-round terrain park. In fact, the earliest
did a
videos I can
triple
find of Zeb
backflip and
Powell
caught the
is him
snowball.
snowboarding at Woodward
What
in
is
Copper
up
Mountain,
with this
Colorado.
dude?
And despite him being only 10 or 11 years old in this video, Zeb is doing pretty advanced tricks for any age on a
for real,
snowboard.
10 and
Another
11,
thing that you'll
okay, he
notice
did
is
grow
that in
up doing
almost
this
every
shit.
video that you see of Zeb, he is not wearing ski goggles. He says that he prefers to ride without them. But this also brings some challenges because when you're riding in cold conditions, especially if you're going fast, your eyes start to water really quickly. The relevance of this will make sense later in the story. As Zeb continued to go to Woodward for summer camp, he was becoming more and more introduced to a lifestyle of snowboarding, something which for the most part was absent at his local mountain. In addition to Zeb's skills growing at
Oh, yeah,
Woodward,
that's
when he
alright.
was only 13, he got his first snowboard sponsor, Never Summer. Although he was
What?
probably just Flow sponsored, he still put together this nice video for them. And even though he is only 13 years old in this, he is already doing tricks that most snowboarders will never even try to do in their entire life.
Oh, yeah,
At this
nah, he's
point,
going
Zeb's
crazy.
abilities
I
started to
cannot lie to
exponentially
you.
grow to a point that everyone else that was watching him ride were shocked
my
at his progress.
God.
Most notably, his
He just
coach
did
Chad
like a
Otterstrom,
fucking,
who is a prominent pro snowboarder,
tomahawk
most
fucking
known for his
snowboard
style
trick.
and snowboarding parts in the early 2000s. Chad would tell Zeb's parents at the end of every year at Camp Woodward of Zeb's potential and that he needs to go and pursue snowboarding at a more advanced level. And with Zeb getting his first sponsor,
Oh my
the
God, that
advice
was
of Chad,
vicious.
and seeing Zeb's progression for themselves, his parents recognized his sustained passion for snowboarding and they enrolled him in one of the best schools in the country,
I didn't even know they had
specifically made for
snowboarding
aspiring
classes like that.
athletes in winter sports, including freestyle skiing, snowboarding, and Nordic skiing. This school was Stratton Mountain School, also known as SMS, and throughout their
I've never
years in
heard of that.
operation has produced 46 Olympic athletes who have won 6 medals, 3 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze, making it the perfect opportunity for Zeb to refine his skills.
Being able to go off a jump and flip in any type of direction and come around back to your feet. Would you say that you attribute a lot of that to trampolines or natural talent or both?
Both. More natural. Definitely my time at SMS. It wasn't even like I was trying to get better. It was just so much fun. Learning new flips, trying to learn triples, like just anything crazy, like crazy games.
That's
tramp
vicious.
or skate.
Cuz a millionaire off this
I
shit
think just
now.
doing that stuff,
He gotta
like,
be.
learning crazy tricks and stuff.
How much does
Trampoline
Zeb
definitely helped
Powell
my
make? You know
awareness.
what I mean?
In general, it's just natural. I think being able to exercise it at that place was definitely like huge.
Zeb started going to SMS as the alternative to going to a traditional high school. This is how Zeb learned the essentials of flips
said only
and learned how to
500
stay
to a
oriented
mil.
when flipping through
Damn,
the air.
I thought he
Around
would
the
have-
time Zeb
he should
started
have
going to
way more
SMS
than that.
was also when he first started
I ain't
posting
gonna lie
videos of
to you.
himself.
He should be up there
With the
with
first one being posted in 2015
what's that white
called
boy's
Zeb
name
Powell's
that's
Winter
vicious?
at Carton
Something white.
Parks. Now,
Sean
while most
White.
people's first YouTube videos are embarrassing to watch back, Zeb's first
Now,
video
this is like
impressive
young
to say at
Zeb,
least.
how they
And the
need to
tricks that he
show-
was doing are extremely
literally need to
impressive
show the,
for anybody.
X
I mean, he's
Games
lit,
Zeb.
and most notably for me, his Nollie Backside Rodeo 7 off the knuckle, which gives a little glimpse into his future of crazy knuckle tricks. It
This
is
is young
absolutely
Zeb
crazy
right
to see
here.
somebody at such a young age do these tricks, and it is clear that he doesn't only have good skills, but also incredible natural
Yeah, them
talent.
tricks
And
is
even back then, you can
ridiculous.
clearly see his style of sending big and not being afraid to fall showing up in his snowboarding. This was also the same year that Zeb had his first snowboarding competition, winning first at Red Bull All Snow at the age of 15.
Oh, yeah, no,
And the
that's
next video he
vicious.
posted on YouTube was a few months later that same year at Mount Hood in
Yeah,
Oregon.
I'ma
one
be
of the
real,
few
if you do
ski
that from a
areas that's
young
open all year
age,
long. And
not
once again, you
being
can see
scared
his
to fucking
progression
do the
continuing
flips,
with no
I'ma be
signs of
real.
slowing down. A year
You're
after
gonna
his first
get
contest
used to
win,
catching
he would win
yourself
again
at all
for
types of
Holiday
bad
Hammers at
angles,
16 years old. This
making
time
the
getting a
tricks
payout
even
of
more
$1,000
exotic.
for
The
his
fact that
prize.
you could even try.
He also started to pick up more sponsors, which he had tagged at the end of his post. And this list of sponsors would only continue to grow from here. Around this time was when Zeb started posting more on Instagram, which turned out to be one of the biggest keys to his success. At first, it was a random mix of him snowboarding, wakeboarding, and skateboarding, which I just gotta mention, he likes to skateboard barefoot, which I guess is kind of the equivalent of snowboarding with no goggles, except he's barefoot, and that's grip tape. If any of you have skateboarded, you kind of know how crazy that is. And it's clear to see
Yeah,
that his
he's
talents
vicious.
translate to skateboarding really well, as he posts a lot of really good skating clips from his time at SMS, which also had a skate park. But out of all the clips that he was posting, his snowboarding clips were the ones that really started to take off. one of the first of which to get over 10,000 views was him doing a switch nose butter to a 360. And if it isn't obvious enough to you already, this is a pro level trick. This is usually not a trick that anyone even thinks of doing, even if they've been snowboarding for many years. The next trick that blew up was this massive double wildcat with a nose grab. He also wouldn't shy away from posting clips of him falling from trying new tricks.
That's vicious.
This continues to enforce Zeb's key to getting good at snowboarding. He was not scared to take a fall, and most importantly, he knew how to fall without getting hurt. When Zeb was around 18 years old, he was filming a lot and started putting out official parts when he got featured in a few Shredbox videos.
Definitely dangerous.
His tricks once again stand out from the rest of the crew that he's riding with, as he is not just going bigger or doing more rotations, but he's also just doing tricks that nobody else even thinks of doing. And every time you go to the comments section of any of these videos, you will get a flood of people being absolutely blown away by Zeb's snowboarding. Around this time is when he posted one of his first somewhat viral clips. This isn't much compared to what he posted later, but his coffin on the knuckle was a trick that nobody else was doing at the time, and of course, Zeb being who he is, he nearly sends it to flat. Zeb started posting clips more and more frequently after this, and in general started being featured in more places snowboarding related. Most notably, his second Shredbox appearance, he was wearing something that is the ultimate flex in any extreme sport, a Red Bull helmet. To say the least, this part is incredible, and the tricks that he is doing is, once again, just mind-blowing. And this Red Bull sponsorship came at a perfect time, as for the next few years, Zeb would go from a relatively unknown underground snowboarding legend to more of a mainstream success. After Zeb got his Red Bull helmet, he had a whole new wind in him. Every clip that he put out seemed fresh, and not just to him, but to snowboarding in general. And as always, he was making everyone else lose their minds whenever they watched him just do his thing.
Okay, I just... What the fuck is wrong with that?
It was clear that Zeb's name was starting to become more and more familiar in the core snowboarding scene, and this led to Zeb having a part in his first full-length snowboarding video called Offline by Nitro Snowboards. Zeb's clips continued to get exponentially more and more crazy, and more people started to take notice, with almost every new clip he posted getting over 100,000 views. He also got featured on the Red Bull Slide-In Tour, which undoubtedly brought more eyes to him, so much so that one day Zeb got a follow from somebody at X Games asking for his email. He got hyped, but he wasn't really sure what it was about. He continued his day as normal until suddenly he got a notification that he got an email.
And then I was chilling on my friend's front porch, and my Google notification dropped down. It's like, you've been invited to X Games. I was like, no way. Like heart dropped, like just stood up and started walking around.
Is there Olympics for the snowboarding?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. It meant so much, like, get invited to something so big purely off of doing something I have fun and just enjoy, like, naturally. I got there based off of fun.
Oh yeah, he got to go win a gold medal.
I think that was the coolest part, you know.
Zeb was invited to his first X Games in 2020, which for him back then, and also looking back on from now, it was undoubtedly one of the most important moments of his life. Fast forwarding to the X Games practice session, and Zeb is hyped. But as he's walking up the hill to drop in, he realizes that he doesn't have any speed glasses, which he usually wears for events like this, especially when he knows that he's going to be going fast. And I'll just let Zeb say what happened next.
I think I was walking out by myself too, and probably 30 feet from the snowmobiles. I was thinking about how I didn't have any speed shades, and I was like, dang, I usually always have something like that for this. And then I looked down at my feet, and there's these heart-shaped glasses, and I'm like, I hope these don't fall off. Just
so he puts heart-shaped glasses on?
Yes, this was the origin of the iconic heart-shaped glasses that Zeb wore on his X Games debut. But the story only gets crazier from here. You see, he only had 3 planned tricks in his rotation, which were a coffin slide to melon grab, a backside rodeo hand drag, and a switch 180 nose butter to 720.
Vicious.
But as I'm sure you know by now with how Zeb is, he cannot help but fully send whatever he thinks is right to do in the moment. And this was shown in his X Games run, with him starting out with a coffin melon grab, but instead of just going to a normal melon grab, he somehow managed to do a backflip too. After this explosive start, Zeb did his other 2 planned tricks perfectly. And
when I seen this, I thought this nigga was gonna on skates. Bruh, This is like the equivalent of some wild shit like having Gunna on skates. Like, you know, Disney on ice. This is Gunna on skates. No, for real. Or Gunna on a
He
snowboard.
finished his third
Like,
run.
what in
He
the
was
fuck
told that he has
is that?
time for 2 more
I
tricks.
thought this nigga
So
was
not
drip
having
too
anything
hard.
planned,
What you
Zeb
talking
does
about?
what he does best and
This nigga
improvises.
look like a rapper
Starting out
on
his
a
4th run by
snowboard.
catching an
Like
edge
a
while
real
dropping in,
rock star.
but still pulling it off
What the
somehow,
fuck
making it
is
seem like it
that?
was intentional, which in my opinion was one of the highlights of the entire Knuckle Huck event. And then
Yeah, no,
somehow
that
after
shit
pulling
was
that off,
OC.
right before the knuckle, he goes switch and does this.
Oh my fucking lord.
And for
Oh,
his
let me
final
stop.
trick,
Let me
he
stop.
takes it mellow with a
Dude, what the
720
f-
butter to 540. Not like there's anything mellow
is
about this
that?
trick, but after what he just did before, it was pretty much just a victory lap for Zeb. Zeb's performance had his
Yeah,
name
nah.
pinned to the
He
top
was
of the
OC.
he
Hold
goes
on, we gotta
switch
run it back.
and does this.
Okay. Oh my god, what
Pulling that
is
off,
this,
which
Slim?
an edge while
Hold
dropping
up.
in,
There's
but still
no
pulling it
way
off
he just
somehow,
did a
making it seem
fucking
like it was intentional,
knuckle flip,
which in my
whatever.
opinion was
This
one of
shit
the
right here
highlights
is
of the
OC.
entire Knuckle Huck event. And then somehow
That
after
was
pulling
like
that off,
a-
right before the knuckle, he
This
goes
is like
switch and
breakdancing
does
on
this.
ice.
And for his
that?
final trick, he takes it mellow with a 720 butter to 540. Not like there's anything mellow about this trick, but after what he just did before, it was pretty much just a victory
The way
lap for
he just
Zeb.
comes
Zeb's
down, too,
performance
is
had his
OC.
name pinned to the top of the leaderboard, and just like that, in his first X Games competition, Zeb Powell won gold, and it wasn't just Zeb's first
Yeah,
gold in
nah,
X
shout out
Games,
to
but it
him.
was also the first time a black person won a gold medal at X Games snowboarding, making it also a historical record forever.
It never set in until I won X Games. I started getting DMs. from
Yeah,
people
no, that's
being like,
vicious.
I had no idea black people snowboarded. I started it because it was fun. My friends were doing it. It didn't really matter that I was black. I didn't even look down on my skin before I thought about snowboarding.
At this point, you might have noticed that I haven't brought up Zeb's race at all in this video, and that is mostly because he stands out in snowboarding for his riding talent and not the color of his skin. But also,
Yeah,
it
no,
is
this-
worth noting that
it's-
it's not
it's
very
the-
common to see
why
a
does
black
he look so
snowboarder or a
nonchalant
black
out
skier,
there?
just in general. This comes down to a lot of factors I'm not going to cover in this video, obviously. But despite Zeb being the minority in every situation whenever he was snowboarding, he says that he didn't even think about it or notice it until he actually won X Games and everybody else was talking about it. Which just kind of goes to show Zeb's whole mentality about snowboarding. He wasn't there to try to prove anybody wrong or stand up for whatever cause.
just looks like
he was
he's
just there to
doing
have
this
fun with his
shit.
friends. And
It's
shortly
no
after
way. It
Zeb's
looks
X
like he's
Games
just
win, he
fucking
partnered up with
grabbing
Woods to
himself
Hoods
mid-air.
Foundation, a nonprofit
It's like his
organization that
landing
promotes
is
awareness
ridiculous.
of
He
outdoors
could-
to inner
he
city
could
children
land
through snowboarding.
and then
And after
switch,
Zeb's
and then
first win
switch
is
back
when I think I
after doing
and
like
most
a
other
crazy
people
triple
were first
backflip.
introduced to Zeb Powell.
With all
he
that
literally
momentum,
could not
he could still
escape
catch
Zeb's X
himself and
Games
flip
run
around.
if the algorithm had
I'm talking
any
about, like,
clue of an idea
switch
that you
boards.
like
I don't know what that
snowboarding.
shit's
And
called, but-
justifiably, his Instagram absolutely took off after his win, with his post continuing to blow up more and more people's minds. The clips that stand out to me the most from this time are the ones with the massive directional board. Now, for those of you that don't really understand this, in snowboarding, there's a lot of different types of snowboards that are designed for different things, or more specifically, different types of terrain. Primarily, there's carving boards, park boards, all-mountain
Yeah.
boards, and powder boards. Powder boards are usually bigger, thicker, slower to turn, and are usually set up to be ridden in only one direction, and they are definitely not made to be flipped or slid on rails. But Zeb somehow makes it look easy with his Nitro Snowboard's big pink board.
What
And I
is
don't
that?
think there's anyone else that can ride such a huge board like that other than Zeb. Later that same year, Zeb also got featured in Snowboarding Mag, and in addition to this, he also started posting more street snowboarding clips and began filming more street parts, most notably for Spotheads. He also got to work with a clothing brand called 32 and was featured in a movie that they put out. Zeb also got sponsored by undoubtedly the biggest name in snowboarding,
Yeah,
Burton.
nah, he's
And with the
vicious.
sponsorship, he got his own signature snowboard, which he named the Super Ultra Mega Blossom, which is a massive 203 centimeter board, which in American
that's
terms
vicious.
is about 6 feet 8 inches. And of course, Zeb continued to put
6
out more
foot 8.
clips that made people question how he is still alive. I can't do justice for all the clips that I've seen from Zeb from 2021, but it's just something that you need to scroll through his Instagram. Throughout 2021, Zeb did a bunch of snowboarding.
Can we see
Met
more
ASAP,
X Game videos?
He got totally robbed.
yeah, right here.
Letting trick.
Zeb Powell run.
And as always, blowing people's mind with his snowboarding. In 2022, he competed
He
in
got
X Games
robbed.
again, landing this absolute mind bender of a trick,
Oh
and
my
also this
fucking
trick.
Zeb
God.
Powell runs his snowboard career. Oh. Oh!
And this.
Oh my, good work!
That
But
shit is
despite landing
vicious.
both those tricks perfectly, he got 4th, which in my opinion, he got totally robbed. He should have at least placed on the podium. But to give credit where credit's due, his competitors were really good, most notably Dusty Henriksen absolutely blew it away with their tricks, primarily
that
his
joke
tail
was
press to
OC.
double tame dog. But even though he didn't place on the podium, it doesn't matter. Zeb at his core isn't a competition snowboarder, he's just out there to have fun, and this shows up both in his normal snowboarding and also in comp, because throughout the contest he would switch boards and undoubtedly make things more difficult for himself. In addition to this, during X Games was the first time that he actually got to ride his new board, so clearly even though he landed his trick with it, he was not yet fully comfortable with riding it. So he continued to do what he does best and just have fun snowboarding. He put out
he's
more
like
clips, learned more
he's
tricks,
like a
and was
literal
featured once
break
again
dancer
on
out
Red
there,
Bull
bro.
Slatin Tour. Shortly after the 2022 X Games, Zeb also started posting frequently on his YouTube channel
knuckle
with a
flip
new
or whatever
series
white
called Planet
cuz just
Zebulon.
did was
These videos not only
ridiculous.
showed Zeb's snowboarding, but also gave viewers a more personal insight into Zeb's life and personality.
Nah,
It also showed Zeb's overall
show y'all
athletic talent.
the whole. We gotta see the fucking highlights real quick. 4-minute highlights. Hold up, where they at? All right. X Games. And we gotta go X Games on their ass. Damn. Well, they gonna copyright my shit. Yeah, I gotta see
We're
this.
ready to set it off here at the Wendy's Men's Snow.
Die going into a feature, honestly. Like, if I get bodied, I get bodied, but I'm trying this trick, you know?
Did he get bodied? Oh, yeah. Oh my God, he
Growing
is
up being a
going
snowboarder
crazy.
in North Carolina, it makes you pretty tough. And you kind of have to be tough. It's like we're riding on ice like 24/7, basically. I think that's what really gave me my creative side of snowboarding. We didn't have jumps. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We didn't have jumps, so it's like we were looking for jumps on the mountain, like around the mountain, like on the walls. We just wanted to make the funnest run before we got to the park. So I think that's what kind of taught me how to like go big, because I like wanted to like get air, but there's no way to get air, so I had to find those places.
Out here at Buttermilk Mountain, and it's no surprise that this became
He's not
such a
scared at
fan
all, I'm
favorite
telling
so
you.
quickly, Craig.
Basically, guys, me stand based off of
Zeb-
it just naturally happened. I guess I just said it right.
Oh, yeah, nah, this shit
And
was
that
perfect.
Kaufman to backflip?
The method, I think, helps it flip. Honestly, didn't mean to do it. I think it was like on a high, honestly.
Here's our leader, Brandon. Zeb Powell. Zeb is short for Zebulon, by the way. Don't know if you knew that. I do now. Zeb still sitting atop.
Oh my
The
God,
leaderboard.
what is that?
Oh!
Just dropping into the knuckle, like, felt so cool. Reminds me of watching X Games, like just watching people drop in, and like the camera following them. Getting there to do it in real life, it's like, wow, like, we're really doing this.
This was an event that was
He went
created last
crazy.
year, and we said, hey, maybe this will be cool. We'll throw it on YouTube and see what happens. And then everyone was like, yes, more, please. Where is that?
More of this content, and we have delivered.
And it felt like Hollywood. It straight up felt like Hollywood. Basically, like this whole aura of like the whole X Games, perfect like Aspen night, you know, like the glow of the lights.
This shit is
So we
vicious.
turn our attention
Aspen,
to our
Colorado.
current leader, the 20-year-old
Home of the X Games. No, for
X
real.
Games rookie Zeb Powell.
He went coffin slide backflip, backside rodeo hand touch.
Whoa.
I like just kept coming up to the top and seeing my name not move. And I was like, what? Like, this is so crazy. And then I'm pretty sure, I thought it was like they give us like a time slot, or told us we had this much time. And I had done like the 3 tricks I wanted to, I think. And they're like, yeah, you're probably gonna have time for 2 more runs. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like, so I was like just
Holy
like
shit.
coming up with stuff like on the spot
On the
to
fly.
drop in and do.
Look at those glasses. I'm a fan.
The glasses were not intentional also. I found them walking up to practice, like right before.
Oh yeah, we just seen
It's
that.
like,
Wait, hold up. We
I
gotta
hope
see
these don't
this
fall
one.
off.
What was that?
I'll
No,
look back at
that
the
was so cool. I ain't gonna lie. This right here was ridiculously cool. I don't even know what the fuck that was.
I'll look
So I'm
back at
telling
the
you, breakdancing on ice.
like I'll even be confused.
What
It's
is
like
that?
it makes no sense. I was just messing around, you know, nose pressing, you know, having fun with it, like in my flow state. And I can't explain that. I was just back on my feet. I do remember at the jump. That's because I like forgot my trick like fully until I got there because I was in awe. Snap back into it, like then I was like, oh, I have to do this trick. So I like did it like really fast revert so I could actually set up for the trick. I don't know. That was like the autopilot, like save yourself kicked in.
Oh yeah,
Zeb
no, for
Powell,
real.
ladies and gentlemen,
Zeb Powell is your current leader.
he's been in first place the entirety. You can make no
And
mistake.
look at what Marcus Cleveland and Fridge have done.
That's true.
That's just simply amazing. And a testament to how insane Zeb's been.
I'm telling you, he look like he's dancing out there too. Dropping like
And a
a
coffin slide into the finish corral.
Hey, nah,
I don't
he's
even think I really
OC.
care what happened after that. It was just like I got to do my thing in front of the world. Like I was happy with that. Once I like actually got to go to
I
like,
damn
the
near I gotta
icing on the
rewind
cake, of
this
course.
shit, bro.
Okay,
This
so
shit is
Zeb Powell was
mind-blowing.
leading the entire contest.
Yeah, he won
And guess what
that
he
jump.
gets? He gets a nut.
He got a gold on. What is that? Nah, this jump was
It meant so much.
ridiculous.
Of course,
Short for Zeb.
into the knock.
Everyone was like, to our current leader, the 20-year-old X Games rookie Zeb Powell.
He went coffin slide backflip, backside rodeo hand touch.
Like just
Yeah,
kept
nah,
coming
that
up to the
jump
top.
was
And
OC.
I'm pretty. And I don't know what else to do. Like the glasses were
Sorry, y'all. We gotta find it. Yeah, this jump was
like,
ridiculous.
right before the comp, and
This
then I
was
like looked down at my
ridiculous
feet,
money.
and there's these hearts.
What is that? What the fuck did this nigga just do?
I look back at
Fucking
it,
break
like
dancing.
I'll even be
Keep
confused.
repeating this shit, but he is crazy.
It makes no sense.
He is crazy, man.
I was just
We're gonna stop it right there, man. If you like snowboarding videos, tap in with me. We might tap into more. I'm definitely staying tuned with Zed Powell because I've never seen somebody do some shit like that on ice. No, for real. Then I went to look at a Sean White video. I was like, oh nah, he's not skating like how Zed Powell skates. Zed Powell is skating like he has no fucks in the world because he knows he's gonna catch himself on every time. Like he knows he can catch himself in the worst position ever. So tap in with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna stay tuned. Tap in with me so you can stay tuned to all the videos I'll drop. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Nah, for